Bring the lion out, bring the lion out, bring the lion out, bring the lion out. Hello Taurus, welcome to your horoscope for the full moon in Leo. Now this is happening on Monday the 6th of February at 5:30 a.m. if you're in the southern hemisphere with me, so change the times to suit your locale, won't you? This moon is going to be a large one, and it's touching on a lot of different things that we've been talking about for nearly 1 year. So let's take it step by step. First of all, Leo rules your fourth house, which is where we experience home, privacy, roots, and stability. So the area that we focus in on our ancestry, perhaps we trace our lineage in the fourth. We hopefully can feel some sense of privacy and nurturance in the fourth as well. There's hopefully some relief that can be felt in the fourth. I like that the Leo identity is wrapped up and around your fourth house, Taurus. It makes a lot of sense to me, because when I think of Leo, I think of someone who's incredibly proud. I think of someone who is incredibly expressive and confident. The term house proud comes to mind when I think of Leo in the fourth. And that's Taurus to a T, I would say. Your surroundings are very important to you, and the way that everything is structured and the beauty and the comfort in your life is something that regulates you or helps regulate your sensibilities. So at this full moon, that's going to be in spotlight. Your fourth house is going to be where the attention is focused. And so in that way, there might be some emotions that come up. There might be some extra feelings or extra realizations that you're having around your current home structure. And if that's working or if that's not working, and perhaps hopefully there'll be constructive ways that you can make the changes that you need. Now, this lunation is a little bit sticky, and it's sort of reminiscent of the old days too, of last year. So think about the difficulty it's been to press ignition at the start of this year. I'm not sure about you, Taurus, but I found it very difficult to sort of activate the plan for this year. It's taken until now for me to really start feeling some movement, but I did have this feeling that I was sort of in glue. I was in suspended animation at some points of the beginning of this year, and it took Mars, Mercury, and now finally Uranus to station direct to recognize where the die is cast, recognize the rules of the game, and to continue. So the last one that I mentioned there is Uranus, and they're stationed direct in Taurus, your first house, the house of your self and soul, your purpose for being here. Very private and wonderfully there's a great potential in the first house. There's a lot to learn in the first. So Uranus has been there, we know, for some time, and won't leave, I think, until 2025? Yes, just checking my notes. Yeah, won't leave until 2025, but it will move into Gemini, but then come back to Taurus. And by 2026, it will be out of Taurus full time. So we actually have some years of preparatory work to do, Taurus. All of this stuff about revolt and revolution and flipping the script and extending our outer limits. You know, this is stuff that's a major focus on right now, but we've got a little bit of time to get it resolved. So this lunation is squaring Uranus. So remember, a square is pressure. 90-degree angles in the constellations form pressure, a fight for some sort of supremacy. You know, it's who's going to get the upper hand, who's going to be seen. So I wonder if this can be related to your fourth house in some way. Is there something about the current configuration of your home where you're feeling a little bit out of focus, or a little bit less important perhaps than other things that need to be tended to or need to be taken care of. It could be something to do with your individuality, like it's sort of something about, well, this is, communal space, homes often are, but there's something about your needs or the way that you wish to sort of change things up in your personage that maybe doesn't fit into the jigsaw puzzle of home anymore. It might be something that you're kind of struggling with a little bit in terms of fitting in at home, or fitting in with your family, fitting in with your, ancestral lines. There is another square as well, so there's double pressure. This time it's between Venus and Mars. So the good news is that Venus is on your team, and I think that we can read this in a specific way that will help sort of like aid some of this tension. So Mars has been in Gemini, your second house. It's going to be finally leaving next month, so in March. We'll see the back end of Mars and the aggravation that's been up and around your second house, your house of material access, your work, your value system, how you earn money, all of those sorts of things. What I'm feeling, Taurus, is that there's something about you, sort of, you're not, like you're wanting to, there's a frustration that you're not operating in the, you're not operating in society the way that you wish to, the way that you can be of best use and benefit, and that you're wanting to sort of earn money from something, or you're wanting to change up the ways that you do earn money, perhaps the ways that you do contribute to home. And it's sort of like, it feels like a bit of a rut, and I'm so unused to that because I'm a Taurus. I love to time my watch to things. I love reliability. I love things that I can rely on, and I've got patience enough to wait for things to grow. So it feels very against your type to be so frustrated, but I can really see it here in these planets. Let's focus on Venus, okay? So if Mars is the butch one, being pig-headed and being sort of, bolshy in Gemini, in your second, Venus, who is one of the planets that are of great benefit to you. Remember, we think about the Empress when we think about Taurus, and what's right there on her throne, Venus. So Venus invites us into the pleasure dome. Venus is the planet that brings forward the pleasure and the sensuality of life, that highlights that for us. And so Venus is so happy in Pisces. They're exalted there. There's a relationship between Pisces and Taurus. There's a rulership in Taurus. That's your major principles of life, is to find pleasure in, food and surrounds and otherwise, comfortability. Also Pisces, Venus is exalted, very happy to help, very useful in Pisces. Pisces is a little bit sort of more magical and sort of mystical and esoteric, but Venus can pop on her mermaid tail quite easily in Pisces. They love it there. So Venus is in square with Mars, but it's almost as if Venus is saying, actually, let's just cool it for a minute, because I'm drawing focus to the 11th house for Taurus. I'm drawing focus to my community, my friendships, my sense of good fortune, the surrounds, who is surrounding me. Now, the 11th can also be to do with the way that we consider humanity and the human condition. A bit sticky at the moment, but I think that if with Venus's influence there for you, Taurus, you might be able to see past some of the anxiety of the cage of anxiety that can be built up around community. Allow this mermaid to bring a little sweetness and a little bit of enjoyment to the communal space. I dare say that, actually looking at this configuration, it's got something to do with, like, I could be wrong, but like, get out of the house, let your hair down, Taurus. It could be as simple as that. It could be, you know, there's friends that you've been out of step with lately that'd be happy to see you. And I think especially with Venus's influence, they'd be doubly happy to see you. There's something about sort of re-entry into community here for you that could be really sweet. You know, there's a lovely sweetness to Venus in Pisces. So, if this moon is bringing up some emotions around home, if it's sort of like, if there is, you know, it's a fire moon, so it's kind of, hold on to your hats, kids. That's the kind of feeling. So if it's a bit tricky, then I'd encourage you to get out into community. And that's not to say, you know, go on, put on your lipstick and get out there. Like, we all have our boundaries, and they're all incredibly important at this period in history. So you go and be with the people that you feel welcome with. You know, that could be two people. That could be your sense of community could be small. And that's just as valuable as being, you know, gregarious and outspoken and social, you know. But I think it's something to do with like stepping out of the pressure cooker of home at this moon. It actually might even, that might actually be another bit of advice. It's sort of like this full moon is lighting up the 4th. So if there's issues there, maybe on the 6th, it might be good not to be at home. You know, just to sort of, not to dodge it, but to sort of like give yourself a bit of a break. Follow Venus is probably some really good advice for you, Taurus. You know, your relationship with Venus is very personal. Follow Venus. Get out there. Where is Venus? Venus is in my 11th house of my friendship groups, of my idea of community. Maybe you've been feeling a bit out of step with that sense. You know, you've been feeling a bit isolated from community. And so it might be a really lovely invitation, you know, to open that door again. I don't reckon that you're going to meet any dissent at all. You know, I think life has changed and rhythms have changed. We've all changed the way that we operate, the way that we move around the world. And our boundaries are all perhaps different to the way that they used to be. And good people recognize that. And without a second thought, be like, yep, that's fine. You know, I'll get what I can from you. What I receive from you, Taurus, I admire and respect and I love. So thank you for that. That's the kind of feeling that good people will show you. If you've got a lot of hands on hips being like, where were you? I really needed you. Yeah, but what about me? But the thing is, my life, if that's, you don't have to worry about that. That's, you can dodge that. That's fine. The intuitive tarot I got here is the Page of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Nine of Pentacles. So that's interesting. This individual here, this Page of Pentacles, they're potentially someone that's separate to you, that's sort of in your environment, around your space. They've got an idea. They've got. I always think of the singular pentacles as seeds. It's a seed of an idea. It's grounded, which you love, Taurus, earthbound. It's practical, but there's potential here. It's almost as if you've not been offered it yet, then you will be soon. And what I see with this follow-up with the Two of Swords, it's sort of got you held in place. It's sort of like, oh, this is overwhelming. I wasn't expecting this. I don't know how I feel about it. I think I love it, but I'm actually not going to act on this at present. I'm going to let it sit. And I like to think that the Two of Swords, they're not kind of, I don't feel that there's any kind of bondage here or anything like that. There's a truth and a truth. And it's an actual choice of stillness. You know, it's like, okay, this offer, wasn't expecting it. Wow, that's full on. I'm going to let it rest. And I'm going to let it process. You can see the pretty remarkable story that this is painting though, right, Taurus? It's sort of like from this seed is a bounty. The Nine of Pentacles is, look at those beautiful tomato plants. There's independence in this card too. There's something, it's from this seed, from this offer. If you're looking at this reading as confirmation for what I'm saying to you, it's sort of coming up. It's sort of like, oh, holy shit, Uma's, strumming my pain with their fingers. Like, then I would say, well, take the offer, because look what the potential of this. There's independence here. There's a garden here. There's everything that you love, Taurus. There's a space to call your own. There's a garden to tend to. There's autonomy in the Nine of Pentacles. There's a real sense of, that's the best word for it. Independence, autonomy, self-reliance. There's a feeling of like living off grid as well. That doesn't have to be as literal as that, But I think what I'm getting at, and with everything that we've just described in the astrology, has me urge you to step away from the current home environment on or around this full moon. Step away from it and process this offer that's either come to you, or if it hasn't yet, it will come to you. And if it's confronting, if it's full on, if it's sort of like, wow, I definitely won't be in that rhythm or rut that I was in before, I don't know how I feel about that. I would suggest that only good things can happen. This is a bit of a mystical reading, Taurus. I wasn't expecting it to be so witchy, but it may not hit home for everybody. So in that way, as these things do, like it's sort of like you're like, no, that's fine. It's probably, maybe it wasn't for you, but I have a feeling that there's specific individuals that may have needed to hear that. Listen to the rhythm. Don't be scared. Have you seen Strictly Ballroom? Doesn't matter. That reference may have really not landed. It's an Australian movie about ballroom dancing. It's very good. It's a classic. Listen to the rhythm. Don't be scared, Taurus. That's your reading, my darlings. I hope that there was some info in there that made sense to you. I hope that you can feel supported at this full moon. This full moon in Leo seems for everyone to be a little bit of like a golly, action stations. After all of that retrograde clag at the beginning of the year, now it's like, holy moly, let's do it. So I hope that was supportive. Yeah. Head to umaruby.com, get your birth chart read by me. I'd love to meet you if I haven't already. You can also send me some tip money at buymeacoffee.com/umaruby. They're always received with such gratitude. Thank you very much for that. If not, that's fine too. I'm happy to have your company. And I'll be seeing you in 2 weeks for the new moon in Pisces. So until then, Taurus, Godspeed, good luck, I love you, and take the punt if it's offered. Why not? Do it. Go on, do it. Bye.